Berlik Nolms. Masterville was a peaceful and quiet town, and all its people were very kind. But an unexpected incident occurred that night. Evil lurked around the town while everyone was asleep, and that was when the tale of burning clumps begins. 'Twas a young summer evening in a small town of Masterville, and the most unexpected had happened. There was a shriek in the middle of the town, and as the townspeople gathered, they had a look of horror, looking down at the woman just lying on the ground, cold as ice. Come through. Come on. Keep moving, people. The voice was deep and rough. It was that of a head detective of a small town. He was a very big man. He was indeed fat, but tall as well. He was very strict and took pride in his work. He would never admit he was wrong, but by the end of the story, that would all have changed. As he was going through the crowd, he kept wondering what had happened to gather so many people in one spot. And just as he was about to give up thinking, he set his eyes on the poor woman lying on the floor. Her whole body lay there, and her eyes had been kept open with a look of horror. There was a hole through her heart and some blood on her face. As soon as that detective had seen all of this, one thing came to his mind, and one thing only: call Nolms. As Burke approached the body, his expression remained unchanged. He was calm and observed the body. Well, it is obvious that she has not been dead too long, and that she was stabbed to death. But this killer was sloppy. How on earth do you know he was sloppy? Asked the detective. Well, answered Knowles, she has a stab wound through the heart, and yet she also has a bleeding head, which looks like it was done with a blunt object. If it had been a sharp tool, there would have been no need to stab her. She was fighting back, and even scratched the killer. You can see there is a little skin under her fingernails. And the killer had to use something to keep her quiet. Therefore, the blunt weapon, if he had been organized, he wouldn't have allowed her to fight back. He would have just struck her from behind. Also, if you are stabbed in the heart, there would be a lot more blood. And judging by the amount of it here, it is easy to conclude that this is not the spot which she was murdered, merely the spot in which she was dumped. The question now is, why not quiet her instead of killing her right there? She must have had useful information that was needed, meaning that there was a connection between her and the killer. So this was not a random act. Also, there is a curious little lump on her stomach. We wonder what that could be, right? The detective and the other policeman just stood there, baffled by what Gnomes had discovered by just having a quick look at the body. Do we know who this woman is? Asked Gnomes. We still don't know. We've been asking around. Someone's bound to know who she is, said the detective. A few days had passed and there was still no word of who this lady could be. Anons was getting very impatient. I was going to his apartment to ask if there was any news, and as I got there, I found the door had been unlocked, and on his couch lay Norm's hat over his face and a mysterious white powder on his table. I was about to ask several things, but before I could, Gnomes had gotten up and said, "I've got an idea," and rushed away. At that very moment, I was confused, but I raced after him, wondering what had happened. Sherlock had got into his car and drove to the police. Almost immediately, he asked, "Anywhere on our victim's name?" "No, Gnomes." "And we told you we'd call, so go away," snapped the detective. But Gnomes already had an idea. "Detective, have all the doctors of the town meet us in the center of town in no less than an hour. That includes all nurses as well." "Gnomes, are you mad? These people have to work. They have to treat the sick. Just do it. It won't take long." About an hour later, several medical professions had been gathered in town. Pharmacists, doctors, nurses, all of them, as well as the detective, were wondering what was going to happen. Soon enough, Gnomes stood up on the platform and started to speak. "This woman had come to one of you for medical help, as to her lump on her stomach, and I know exactly who it was." Everyone started to turn around and wonder who it was, looking around with puzzled faces. "You, lady, standing right there, you're her doctor. The rest of you can go back to work." As everyone went back to work, the lady accused of being the doctor had tried to make a run for it, but it was of no use since there had been guards all over town. She was a very weird looking person. She wore a long sweater, all black, and had short blonde hair. "Let go of me! I did nothing." "Well, then why did you run?" "Only the guilty refused to go with the police," said the detective. Gnomes had walked up to her and calmly said something none of us had expected. "So you were the victim's doctor, as well as her sister, correct?" The woman had stopped, struggling, and had a sad expression on her face. "How did you know it was me?" "Well, when I told everyone I knew who it was, everyone turned and tried to see who it was. Everyone except for you. You stared straight at me, nervous of who I would accuse. You did not have to look for it was because you knew who it was. You are her sister because you have similar cheekbones with the victim, although that was just a hunch. The expression on your face confirmed my theory. Now, the question at hand is, why did you kill your sister?" "I did not kill her. I would never do such a thing." "Then why not come to the police and tell us her name?" I. I. Do you really think I would want to tell you? You're just a deceitful person, and you're an old detective." To be quite frank, I was rather happy that she had said nothing to me, and I actually chuckled quietly when she called Gnomes deceitful. Apparently, she did not know as much about gnomes as I did. Deceitful is such a weak word. "Take her back to Scotland Yard. She didn't do it, but she is hiding something." After he had said this, I saw a smile on his face. I was going to ask, but before I could, he interrupted. "Wasn't this one a boring one, hey, Watson?" She then left the site with that detective. "Okay, here's how I see it. You are suspected of murder. So you will be going to jail for a long time. If you don't start confessing, you are going to stay in jail for a long time, said the detective. And yet the woman stayed quiet and simply said, "It wasn't me." Nolmes then entered the room. "I know you didn't do it, but we can very well say you did, and that would ruin your career. And those people who your sister owed will come after you once you get out of the jail because she owed them money, which she can't pay anymore since she's well dead." She sighed, and then, with a quick look towards her right, as if she was thinking, she started talking. "My sister was sick, so she had come to me for help, and I gave her something just to relax her. And then she started blurting out some things, such as how she owed money to some people, and they were very angry with her. I thought that they had followed me, so I thought that if I did not tell the police, then they would not come after me. But I didn't do it, I swear." "So, Gnomes, what do you think of her story?" I asked, curious to hear the answer. "She's probably telling the truth, but it wasn't some people who needed money who killed her." "Well, why not, Gnomes? It seems pretty straightforward." "Oh, Jameson, you must think harder. People who loan money would not be sloppy. They would kidnap and demand ransom. They would not kill, or else they wouldn't get their money. They would most probably threaten, not kill." As I was about to say something, the detective barged in. "Gnomes, we know who the girl is. She's called Nora Jane, an American who came here. And guess what? She came here because she had been stealing money from banks in America. She probably stole from the wrong people here. That is what got her killed. I guess the case is." But before the detective could finish, Noam instantly asked, "Have you interviewed the boyfriend?" "What boyfriend, Gnomes?" "Well, didn't you see the lipstick that she had on? Why would someone have lipstick on if they were going to just stroll around or to meet some bad folks?" "Okay, Gnomes, you may have a point, but if there is no boyfriend, this case closed. Got it?" "Yeah, sure. I just have to go and see that sister." Gnomes had knocked several times on the door, and yet no one had answered. He looked around and saw a trash can. And it was a rug, and it looked old and wet. There was no key under the mat, and therefore no way of getting in. "Burlick, allow me." And I simply turned the knob to open the door. Thank you, Thompson, but I'll have you know that I was about to do that." As we turned the body over, we saw something that shocked us both. This was not the sister. It was some other woman that was also blonde. "Wait, this isn't her." "Oh dear, Holmes, we're in the wrong house." "But we are at her address. 232. It says so on the door." "Let me see that, Gnomes." "Gnomes, that a 3 at the end, not a 2. Give me that." "Well then, that's rather terrible handwriting. Let's go and check her house then." A little after 5 minutes, Scotland Yard had arrived, and we had knocked on the actual door of the sister. We were relieved to know that she was fine, but the question still remained: why would someone want to kill her? She must know something. We're going to have to take you back to Scotland Yard. We still have a few more questions, I said, and she went with us, but not in the best of moods. Red Gnomes, the case may not be closed. Actually, far from it. So, what do you reckon? Asked the detective, quite impatiently. Oh, it is so very simple, isn't it? Puzzled, both the detective and I had the same question, but did not want to ask it, knowing how impatient Gnomes is with these things. Let the woman go, said Gnomes, and told her to walk towards the dark alleyway behind her apartment. Follow her, and you will find your killer. Gnomes, that's putting her in danger. We won't do that, shouted the detective, who was for once concerned for the well-being of others. Well, all right then, let's go, Jamison. Gnomes, what do you plan on doing? I had asked him, but all he said was to focus and follow. How stubborn Gnomes can be, I decided to go. It was near dark outside. The moon was full, and I had lost Gnomes. He had simply told me to meet him outside the alleyway. That was exactly when I saw a woman. I did not see her face, but she was blonde and suspiciously like the sister. I waited for Gnomes, and the time was passing. 15 minutes, then 20, then 30, and he has still not shown up. And the girl remained in the alleyway. As I was about to leave, I heard a yell, a male one at that. Confused, I ran toward the alleyway, and there I saw two figures. One the girl whose wig had fallen off, and a man pinned toward the ground. With a closer look, I saw Gnomes wearing a sweater which I had thought was on a woman. Thomason, would you be so kind as to help me hold this man down? You can clearly see his knife, can you not? So, you're the victim's boyfriend, are you? Shouted the detective, impatient because he wanted to end this case. What's it to you, you old man? Murmured the man, expressionless. You're holding a knife against another man and attempting to kill him. That's what is it to me? I have nothing to say to you, old man. As the detective kept shouting, the sister had walked into the room, and the boyfriend and her shared a look. His was a look of loathing, while hers was one of disinterest. Excuse me, detective, let me. Jones said, interrupting the interview. Jones had a habit of looking at people and understanding them. I never understood how he did it, nor what he thought of whilst looking at them. Well, you have bags under your eyes which suggest that you have not slept much. And considering the fact that you were carrying a knife around, I would have to say that you have some guilt in you. Your trousers are not clean, nor are they ironed, which means that you are not a very organized person. That shirt smells very strange. It seems as if you have been wearing it for quite a while. You probably have not changed since the event, meaning that you are nervous that we will find out something about you. You have a tattoo which is very unique, one that I am assuming belongs to a criminal group, so you're involved with the money that the girl had stolen. You're probably posing as her boyfriend to get close enough to her to get your hands on that money she had. And when you asked for it, she fought you and you ended up killing her. That is not true. I did not kill her. Sure, I am from a gang and she had take our money. I was told to get close to her so that she could get back our money. but we ended up falling in love. I wanted to flee the country with her, but she did not want to. She was convinced that she could pay back the fines. I swear I did not kill her. Burlick had a look of disbelief. He was convinced that this man was the one, and without another look, he said, "Arrest him." Well then, Holmes, that one was quite easy, was it not? I had said this with hopes that he was in a good mood because I was sure that what I was about to say would offend him. I get that the simple answer is always the right one. Nolmes was tuning his violin, and then his arms fell, and in a deep voice he said, "Thomason, say that again." The simplest answer is always the right one. Thomason, that is. Come, we have work to do. It was a quiet afternoon, and I had hoped that it would stay like that, but I guess I was hoping for too much. Nolmes had told me to meet him at the sister's house along with a detective. We were waiting outside for a few minutes, then decided to enter her house. "What are you doing here?" I thought you had caught him, asked the sister. "Don't worry, we'll leave soon." Then quietly the detective said to me, "I hope Nolmes has a good reason for this." After a few minutes, Nolmes came in, and a horrible smell came along with him. "Nolmes, tell us why we're here." "Oh, God, what is that horrible stench?" the detective demanded. It would all be explained shortly. Now, we know that the boyfriend looks to have done it, but there are still questions left unanswered, and I would like them answered. Where the weapon used to kill her? Where was the murder site? I would love to bore you with all the things I found. But why not tell you a little story? She was once a girl who had a bad life in America. She decided to change all of that and start a new life here, but she had a few deaths here as well. Turns out the boyfriend was telling the truth. He did fall in love with her, and she had a plan as to how to pay back her debts. Her parents had left her and her sister quite a lot of money, and that money was to be shared between them. Nora wanted to use it to pay back her debts, all of it. And guess who didn't want that to happen? You right there. What? I've never been informed about any of this, exclaimed the sister. It was quite obvious you had money. That rag that I saw in the trash can, it was very well made, too well made for the common person to have, and yet you threw it away, and it was wet as well. Now, why would that be? Perhaps it was bug infested, or perhaps it was stained with blood, because this is where Nora was murdered. As to how you knew all of this, you told herself you gave her a drug to help relax her, and she probably blurted out the story of how she would use your money to pay off her debts. I demand you to stop this insinuation right now. I have done nothing. And besides, you have no proof, said the sister, in a rather loud voice. Well, then, for one thing, there's the rug. As he said this, Nolmes had tugged in a wet and stained rug. He continued to unfold it, and it was quite obvious there was a large stain of red, dark red, and it had a horrible stench along with it. Then, if you are still not convinced, then might I ask you to take care of a sweater? What? I would never do such a thing. Well, there were no scratch marks on the boyfriend. The detective simply arrested him because he looked right for it. and he wanted to finish what he had started by going after you as well. Ma'am, take off the sweater, demanded the detective. No, I would never do such a thing. Then you are under arrest, and we will continue to question you in our office unless you can prove that you have no scratch mark on your body. It wasn't supposed to be like this, okay? I got angry with her. She didn't even ask to use the money. She was simply going to use it. I got mad and I grabbed the broomstick and whacked her with it. She crushed me before I could hit her. But when I did, she fell cold on the ground. I thought that she would tell everyone what I've done. I would go to jail for assault, and she would take all the money. And my career would end as a doctor right there. So why not stop her right there? Then I dragged her out to the middle of town to make it look like it was random. Did it work? Did it? No, it didn't, said the detective. How long have you known that it was me? She had asked, with a rather surprised expression on her face. Well, I've had my suspicions since the first time I met you, said Nolmes. When I said that your sister murders seemed boring, you did not react. If you care for her, you would have fought me back for assaulting her murder. Also, when one looks to the right when they talk, they are usually using the part of the brain that is used for imagination, which is what you did during your interview. But wait, Noms, what about the woman she died next door? Well, the boyfriend killed her. You see, Nora's boyfriend saw all of this. I don't know how, and then tried to get revenge. But apparently, like us, he mistook the numbers. After all, it was dark, and he killed an innocent woman. Well, why didn't he tell us who killed Nora? My God, detective. Think for a civil letter. He tried to get revenge, correct? So he wanted to kill the sister himself, not let her go to jail. There's about summer was rather calm. Burlick had a few more cases to solve, but he solved them easily. This is the story I chose to tell since it is the one that has stayed with me for so long. The story of the two evil sisters, the thief and the murderer.